Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Wing Gaming and 70 Mounts Wood of the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you with the Let's Play episode of Polar Night. So let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you are up and let's go. Alright. Once at the bottom of the stairs, I turned to my right. I could see the light glow from the underneath Joseph's cabin door, and already I could hear raised voices. Promised me, no, without my say-so. I could not if he questioned you, truthfully say you didn't know. I crept closer. This was the second time I'd heard June so angry, after the incident at the bar with Aaron and Dana. They were obviously moving around, or at the least one of them was, as their voices kept shifting in volume and how muffled they were. That's for me to scare the life out of me, and now the others are... There was an awkward pause, and I chanced a few more steps closer. Continue. Are you serious? How? How should I... But now he knows, and he has 2 weeks to... You saw how they all blamed... What were they talking about? He knows? 2 weeks to what? I wanted to get closer to hear more, but I couldn't risk having them suddenly open the door and see me naked and snooping. I instead stayed put, giving me what I had hoped was enough distance to reach the stairs if I needed to leave in a hurry. Her voice was mournful now, more subdued. She didn't seem to be moving around as much. We should have had the chance. You know why? We would understand. Both of our lives. My life is already... How long is he going to... We've been over this. That's why he'll never be able to... without me. I felt my blood run cold as I hear a similar tone in his voice to when Rufus had taunted him. Whoever this he was, Joseph was not fond of him. And who is he? There was a brief cry and the sounds of muffled sobbing. There was only an audible murmuring as I assumed Joseph comforted June. My mouth was dry and my heart raced. There really was something going on, and now I'd trapped us all in this thing. Should I tell someone? Would anyone believe me? It would be my word against Joseph and June, and really, what would I be accusing them of? All I could say for sure is that they were both up to something, and it sounded like they were doing it to screw over some unknown guy. Motion from the room made my heart skip a beat, and I quickly slipped back towards the stairs, just as the door opened, bathing the spot where I'd been standing moments before in light. I don't think I'd ever climbed stairs so quickly in my life. I made it to my door a second before I heard June reach the top of the stairs. Thankful I'd not turned on my bedroom light. I closed the door as quietly as I could and waited, my ear against the wood. Rapid footsteps approached and I felt my heart leap into my throat. They stopped. Fuck! I'd been caught. She spotted me. She was gonna knock, demand I explain. A soft whimper and sniff followed by a sharp inhale. The sound of rustling clothes as though she was fixing her clothing. Then the footsteps continued, fading until there was only silence again. I turned, leaning my back against the door. My thoughts raced. Maybe I could change my mind. Tell the others I'd had enough. It'd be hard on Gail and Stefan. I had no idea what June and Joseph were up to, but Joseph clearly had a grudge against someone and June was involved. And the rest of us were caught up in his pissing match in the worst possible place. The morning was going to be fantastic. Another bout of Sheriff touting, shouting, Tabby complaining, but maybe even Rufus and Joseph butting heads. Who could I tell about this? I didn't even know who this he was that Joseph was referring to who could be, and I didn't want to get involved. What if I tipped off whoever Joseph was feuding with? Morning. This could wait till morning. I continued to silently grumble to myself as I flicked the light on and pulled fresh sheets from the cupboard. I threw the old stuff in the corner. I could deal with laundry in the morning. It had cooled right down with the porthole open, so I closed it again so I didn't freeze. No sooner had I finished making the bed, I flopped down and gave a groan of frustration. If I'd known this trip would be such a clusterfuck. But then, I reached for my phone and once again gazed sadly at Mom's texts. Guilt threatened to overwhelm me, but this time I remembered my decision. Against all odds, I decided to continue. For her. As much as it hurt me to know she must be beside herself with worry, I took some small comfort in that. I sat it back down, resolving to prioritize above all else getting into contact to reassure her I was fine. I closed my eyes, feeling a small measure of optimism. The sounds of ice bumping and scraping the hull was unsettling. It was sporadic, mostly seeming to come from my side of the ship. I remembered seeing what appeared to be land of some kind last I looked out the porthole. Maybe we were navigating around an island or something. Being close to land did settle my nerves a bit whenever a particularly loud ice impact sent a chill through me. What was it Stefan had said? Something about an old sailing ship getting crushed in ice. Then I found myself reasoning that the metal hull of the Sylvia was hopefully more resilient to such a fate. I thought of using Stefan's ramblings to reassure myself brought a small smile. I didn't know how long I lay there, just listening to the sounds and trying to organize my thoughts. The air was cool, but the gentle motion of the ship combined with the quiet noises of the ice made it hard to fully switch off. It seemed to be developing from low, echoey snapping to more of a crackling noise. Maybe we were entering thicker ice. After a while of failing to drop off with a resigned huff, I threw off the covers and stood. Fuck this, I'm going for a smoke. But then it hit me. No lighter. Okay, fuck this, I'm going for a walk. Maybe getting some air would help, and I could see the ice situation for myself. I pulled on my clothing, ensuring I had a few bottles of Proxy and Diclo in case I had another thunderclap. My smokes were in my pocket as per usual, even without a lighter. It was automatic, like making sure I had my phone, wallet, or keys. Zipping my jacket up, I listened for sounds in the corridor for a moment to ensure I wouldn't run into anyone before making my way to the deck. The snow crunched underfoot as I made my way to the side. My hand moved on its own to my pocket, and I was halfway to pulling a smoke from the pack with my teeth when I remembered my missing lighter. I never really realized just how ingrained the habit was. My heart picked up and my nerves frayed, especially at the prospect of my Alisorn going missing. Maybe I could convince some of the others to help me search tomorrow. Maybe. With a heavy sigh, I leaned on the bulwark and gazed out toward the rising dark snow-capped peaks looming out of what had looked like an incoming blizzard. Another batch of bad weather. I wish Sharif had picked a better time of year for this expedition. I didn't know what to make of this stuff with Joseph. My suspicion about the breakers being deliberately screwed up seemed to be on the money. It was a while I was pondering how to react when I saw it. Subtle at first, but then the smell hit. Acrid, cloying, and foul. The scent hit the back of my throat and burned my nose, triggering a wrenching cough. Tufts of smoke were escaping from somewhere beneath me from the portholes. I glanced down over the side and felt my heart stop. Oily black fumes were pouring out the porthole. As I watched with dawning horror, the smoke intensified and was joined by plumes billowing from a second, then third porthole. Fuck, fuck, fuck! Just as I spun on my heel to run inside, a figure skidded out the door from the lounge. Garrett! Dana, there's fire! Smoke! I know! Stay here! Do not go back inside! He tossed a life jacket at me and turned back. If anyone else shows up, tell them to stay right there. I need to find the captain and warn the others. Before I could protest, she dashed back inside. My mouth was dry and my hands shook. I fumbled with the jacket, trying to put it on over my bulky coat. I laughed again. I coughed again as the wind blew the smoke back into my face. I couldn't stay here. It felt like a fire was right under my feet. My eyes stung and I glanced back towards the rear. It seemed like it was clearer that way. There was an ear-piercing scream coming from somewhere beneath me. People below deck struggling to escape. I couldn't just stay here. I could grab a fire extinguisher, try to help the others. Then I heard the sound of something popping beneath me, like a cork followed by a loud hissing noise. The hissing increased in pitch, like a whistling kettle. I realized I needed to be anywhere but where I was currently standing. But by the time I started to run, a bright flash blinded me. Everything glowed orange, scorching me and lifting me off my feet. Ah! The moment I hit the water, it felt like I'd been slammed into concrete. I gasped, instantly inhaling water. The cold was indescribable. My muscles instantly seized, and for a moment my body couldn't move. My mind couldn't comprehend the situation. Then my lungs burned and I choked, thrashing around as I tried to figure out which way was up. I tried to breathe, my brain refusing to accept I was underwater and only got another lungful of frigid ocean water. I expelled all the air in my lungs from my scream as the explosion threw me overboard. All I had was salt water choking me. My whole body was sluggish despite my panic. Nothing could ever have prepared me for this utter cold. Jesus. Quite a fucking escalation. I finally managed to orient myself, a deep orange glow pointing me to the surface. The fire. I gurgled, feeling like a lead weight was pulling me down. My clothing, meant for protection from the elements, was the absolute worst thing I could be wearing at this moment. I drove myself upwards, thrashing, flailing, desperate. I broke the surface, trying to suck down precious air. I almost threw up as I choked, spilling water from my lungs and as I thrashed and flailed. God! Help! I took 2 full breaths to expel the water, and I have never taken a breath in my life more glorious than the inrush of air that followed. I struggled, trying to orient myself. Where was the Sylvia? The cold was like a million knives digging into me. My clothing might as well have been an anchor dragging me under the surface. I tried to remember. What had June said? Don't panic. Get into a stable floating position. I'd not managed to get my life jacket on, and without it floating was utterly laughable. And as for not panicking, I tried to tread water, pawing at the icy ocean. My limbs felt tight, my chest constricted, my legs like they were moving through treacle. I screamed and yelped, choking as gobbles of water splashed into my mouth, and I frantically tried to keep my head above the water. The one mercy was that the ocean was relatively calm, and it gave me enough visibility to spy an expanse of white nearby. Ice. I had no idea it was thick enough to support my weight, but I no longer cared. I started to weakly paddle towards it. Every moment was agony. Each time I pawed at the water, it felt like my arms were trying to cut through tar. I just wanted to stop, to float, to sleep. Every breath I took was choked by water splashing into my face. The ocean waves washed over and around me. I couldn't tell if they were carrying me further away from the ice. My strokes slowed, my breathing labored, my legs burned in agony. The cold alone was torture, the worst pain I'd ever experienced, more than even my thunderclaps. But then every ounce of warmth was sucked out of you, numbing your limbs, leaving you wondering if your arms and legs were even still there. All I wanted was to stop, close my eyes. Inch by inch, in constant suffering, the ice drew closer until, with all the strength I could muster, I reached for it and dug my stubby claws into it. The ice was just about chest level. Both my hands were planted on the surface, pulling my chest against the edge. All I needed now was to pull myself up and onto the cold, but at least dry surface. My breathing slowed, my eyelids felt heavy. If I'd allowed them to close, I wasn't sure I'd ever open them again. My claws clung to the ice. If it weren't for the layer of snow providing friction, I'd have simply slid off to sink into the depths. What's that? Garrett. I pulled. My body ached. My muscles screamed, and I did too. Tears poured from my eyes, or at least I think they did. It's hard to tell when you're soaked to the bone. Garrett. Oh, man. My ears rang. Every sinew strained to yank my body out of the water. First my chest, the weight of my soaking clothes amplified as I left the water. Then my hips as I scrambled onto the snow, crawling until I was finally fully out. My panting, heavy breaths were the only noise apart from the waves. The snow beneath me, cold as it was, might as well have been a heated blanket compared to the Arctic Ocean. Gradually the wind started to pick up. Light snow turned to flurries, turned to a howling wall of ice. My body quaked, my teeth chattered, everything hurt. All I wanted was to close my eyes and just sleep. I didn't even particularly care if I woke up. No, I had to get up. Get up. Fuck, it hurts. It took everything I had to force myself to my knees, and finally to my paws. I swayed, trying to take stock. I couldn't hear anything except the wind, nor could I see any sign of the Sylvia. No glow of fire, no sound of engines. Hello! Anyone! Nothing but silence. No cries for help, screams, shouts in return. The burst of panic in my chest dispelled my fatigue as I spun around, trying to get my bearings. Hello! Is anyone there? I cupped my hands around my muzzle and screamed into the white. Panic jolted through me. If the Sylvia had exploded, no one else was alive. Hey! Is anyone there? I'm here! Oh fuck, please, I can't be stranded! Oh, alright, I'm gonna pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm gonna give a quick shout out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank you all for what I do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silver, and thank you above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks to our 2 gold tier patrons, Zeke and Toby. Y'all are awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to Ultimate Tier. Anyway, if y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to overnight safe for more content as little as $5. Alrighty, I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!